Hello everybody. Today we are going to use n8n with standard webhooks in order to synchronize our Mautic companies to our SuiteCRM accounts. Okay, so let's go. Before we start, let me tell you something about my new project. In case you wanted to simply connect your SuiteCRM and your Mautic and have everything prepared for you already, check out this one here. So my team and we're currently building exactly this service for you. It's a turnkey solution for you. You can bring your own Mautic, bring your own SuiteCRM system and configure what syncs how, all via the API. No need to do anything anymore. All the integration has been done for you. It's solid. It checks for duplicates. It's keeping everything in sync, and it gives you all the details that you need in both systems. Check out the link below and join the early waiting list, or depending when you watch this video, simply sign up and register. In a B2B setup, usually inside your marketing automation, you're not only collecting contact data, but company data as well. Usually your contacts are somewhat related to the companies, and they would just offer or add the company details over time, or maybe at the very first beginning already, depending on your setup and your marketing journeys, customer journeys here. So how does this work if we want to integrate our SuiteCRM system and our Mautic system in a B2B scenario? Of course, you not only have the contacts, you have the accounts or the companies as well, and now those need to be integrated together with the contacts as well. You have, if you check this one here out, the company name is a required field inside our Mautic, and this will work very nicely inside our accounts in SuiteCRM, because here you can see the same situation, so therefore the integration should work just smoothly. So we need, of course, those two systems. Additionally, for now, for this demonstration, we're using n8n with the vanilla approach, so we don't use the Mautic nodes or any plugins for SuiteCRM integration, because then it's possible to transfer this whole information to, maybe you're using active pieces, or you're using something like Python, PHP, or whatever, and then it works smoothly everywhere. And additionally, what helps as well, if you have the documentation at hand, because sometimes it's a bit difficult to write into an API endpoint, and therefore that usually helps. So let's start on our Mautic side of things. If you did not yet, check out my video on the API integration and preparation on Mautic, because if you're starting now with integration, you probably want to do this right away with configuration, API credentials, and so on. And then, as you can see, here are our webhooks that we need now, and these are very, very powerful, because here we can trigger. There was an event on our Mautic side and we want to inform an external or another system. There's already one which is sending contact details to n8n, and now we want to do basically something similar and send, let's write this down right away, send account or company details to n8n, and then later on to SuiteCRM, of course. So here, as you can see, for contacts, you've got plenty of events where the system would trigger, because you're working with contents, your contacts, and your contacts do have behaviors, and companies usually don't really have behaviors, and therefore there's just a simple update, create or update event, and a deleted event, which will be used very seldom. So here our Mautic expects us to add a webhook post URL, and this is what we're going to do now, or prepare now. I've got this node here, which is a standard HTTP request, and it's getting the authorization token. So if you do not know how to create this, check out my video on SuiteCRM and API integration, because there we're building this one up. Here I want to start with a webhook. So first of all, I want to change the method into a post, because that's what my Mautic just told me. We need to have a post. Then it is possible to do authentication and have some responding details and some more options, but Mautic webhooks are a little bit basic. For what we need, it's totally sufficient, but yeah, it would be possible to integrate it in different ways or in different scenarios. It could be that your webhooks need to be more powerful. I copy my test URL already, and then I can connect those two, and then my test URL goes here, and now I would start this one and listen for an event, because here on this side I can now send a test payload. As you can see, success, that looks already quite good, and here there has been some data from my Mautic installation. So as you can see, this is quite good, because now we've got the connection enabled between the two systems, and this is the basic beginning of everything. So therefore we can save this and start now safely building. I can save this one here as well, and we can work with the data now. But if you have seen, there's not much structure or details about the company data or how it would look like. So therefore I still have to send or create one record. And I would simply call this company 08. And the rest is not really required, so I can simply save this one here after I started to listen again for our test event. Because after doing this, I see two companies here inside our Mautic, and here now I can see the full company data, the payload that is being sent from Mautic. And that's very important, because now I can continue working with the development here of our workflow. So first of all, the token, fairly simple. Check out my video on the token, but here just a quick overview. I want to authenticate against this endpoint here. I need my details, how I authenticate there, and then I receive a token. Now we have, we basically only need to add the post request towards our SuiteCRM API, but it's much easier if you get started now with a GET request. I basically can copy this one here, so duplicate this one, and would say get SuiteCRM account. And the thing that I want to do now, or the reason why I want to do is a GET, because it's just much simpler to retrieve data from the CRM instead of to write to it. Because as you can see, we don't need any parameters. We need the header, but we don't need any body or payload or whatever. So I simply can use this whole thing here, copy paste it into my n8n, replace or keep this one. So I need to keep the legacy here in case you're working with SuiteCRM 8 and SuiteCRM 7. You don't need the legacy folder. And then we've got API version 8 module. So module is important. We need to add this logic for accounts, and the ID doesn't matter. I can use any of those accounts here and try to retrieve it. So, and that's already good enough. We don't need anything else here. We don't need to send a body because it's a GET request, but we need to send some headers. So what are these? You can't find them here. They're on the next page with the authorization things or details together. And there you can see this is already a complete example. So if you're developing now in PHP, you can see this one here. But for us, we can copy and paste the individual details. We don't need the colon. We just need to have those details and copy this into the next parameter. So here's just about what it is. The data type, how it's being transferred, the content type, and the content type that is being accepted as the return value. And then we need to add our bearer token. So where do we get this from? We have already executed this access token here, and this is exactly what we need to place here. So switch this one to expression, and then you can open this one in a new window, for instance, and then drag and drop this. Make sure that you've got a space here between the bearer and the token itself. And this should already be it. And I can execute the step And you can see it looks all good despite the cosmetics here. So I know it's JSON format, so I can add some configuration and say don't auto detect the format, just use it as a JSON. And then as you can see, it looks neat and clean, tidy. So the reason why I wanted to have this is that's fairly simple. So I can use my name. So this is one attribute value or key, and we require this, but I've added something as well. If you check it further down here, I've got the Mautic account ID. So now this is for storing the information of the Mautic account ID inside SuiteCRM, and this helps a lot for your integration later on, because then for every account that has the Mautic ID filled on your CRM side, you already know that came from Mautic or has already been synchronized with Mautic. And it can help as well if you do a bidirectional synchronization. So if you have some updates on the SuiteCRM side, then you already know into which record on Mautic you have to write. So keep in mind, we want to have this one as well. And now that we saw this in the get, it's much easier in the post later on. So here I can now say something like create SuiteCRM account, and a create method is a post one. So if we go back to the documentation here, and you see we did this one before, but now we want to create a record, and we are very lucky because accounts is the standard example here, and therefore we just have to copy paste most of the stuff. So here our API has just the module at the end, post is correct, and then we need to have this body that we transfer over. So therefore post is correct. We can remove accounts and the ID and the slash here, and then headers will stay the same. This has been working nicely just then as well. And we want to send a body. And the body is a JSON. Yes, we could use fields, but it's cumbersome. So therefore I would switch to JSON. Again, switch to expression here, and then you can copy and paste the whole thing here. And now we can add all our fields, including our Mautic ID field. So what we do now is we connect this one. So this node has access to the data that came before. And here we've got our Mautic account ID that I want to copy. Actually, I can copy the whole line here for my JSON structure in this one. So I open this one here again, and then I would simply separate this with a comma. Add this one here. Pay attention to the indentation. Not that it's technically important, but it just looks much better and cleaner if you have this one. Here you can see the preview. And then it's easy to spot issues if there shall be any. So first I want to have the ID, which is here inside this part of our response. And then we are still missing the name, and this is further down. So I have to go to the company name, which is here. And then I can drag and drop this over. And as you can see in the preview, that looks quite promising. Yeah, the JSON structure, the JSON payload seems to be correct. Then let's go back into this one here and simply let's execute this, because now we should have already finished everything that we need. And as you can see here, the response from the CRM system looks promising as well. We've got the ID, we've got the complete body. And therefore, if I would go back here to view accounts, I should be able to see this as well. And indeed, my company 08 is inside here, already inside the CRM system. And here you can see Mautic account ID, perfect. So this has been synchronized, and we automatically know this comes from Mautic. We have the ID in Mautic already, so now you can integrate and add additional logic. You don't need to do some searches by the name or something. So this works really smoothly. And as you can see, I've added a couple of other fields as well. So if you want to fill out those, for instance, the account URL, because if you go to Mautic and then click on the company, and then you will see the URL is always the same. So this bit stays fixed. and then there's a variable bit which is just the ID, so you can copy this one over via n8n as well, and then you can easily click here, and the integration is even a bit nicer. And if you're working with this one, you can track a little bit the behavior. When was there an update of the company, of the contact, or whatever, so you can always see how often or how frequently something here has been updated, or you can calculate some scores for your contacts, for your accounts. When was the last time they visited the page or similar? And depending on inactivity, you would reduce the score or similar. So plenty of stuff that can be done. Very, very powerful here. So we're building up the basis on how to integrate our Mautic with a CRM system, in this case SuiteCRM. And as you see, it's fairly simple to build up the basis, and it works nicely as well. And now that everything worked out fine, we are reaching the end of this video. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time. Bye.